He had made a serious mistake. This mistake might damage national unity. Realizing this, he apologized. Join this sentence into a complex sentence. Answer: he apologized, realizing that he had made a serious mistake that might damage national unity. 10th. Join these sentences into a single sentence. We felt tired. We wanted to get back home as early as possible. We paid the boatman his due. We returned to Srimpur. The return journey was made by bus. Page number 438. Answer: as we felt tired and wanted to get back home as early as possible, we paid the boatsman his due and returned to Srimpur by bus. 11th. Nothing succeeds like success. Your friend knows it well. Failure is unknown to him. He is diligent and energetic. Would you like to emulate him? Join these sentences into a single sentence. Answer: would you like to emulate your diligent and energetic friend to whom failure is unknown and who knows it well that nothing succeeds like success? 12th. Clearly we had arrived several days too late. We felt foolish. One always does in these circumstances. We withdrew into the bustling wilderness of West Kingston. We were disconsolate. Join these sentences into a single one. Answer: as we had clearly arrived several days too late, we felt foolish, as one always does in these circumstances, and disconsolate, and withdrew into the bustling wilderness of West Kensington. 13th. Many men and women surround you. They will want to cast in their lots with you. You fall on bad times. Will any one of them be prepared to share your misfortune now? There is ample room for doubt about this. Join these sentences into a single sentence. Answer: there is ample room for doubt whether any one of the men and women who surround you now and who want to cast in their lots with you will be prepared to share your misfortune when you fall on bad times. 14th. Turn these sentences into a complex sentence. History tells us of King Harshavardhan. He was extremely generous. He gave away his all to the poor. He was held in high esteem by all. Answer: history tells us of the extremely generous and highly esteemed King Harshavardhan, who gave away his all to the poor. 15th. Join the sentences. I held the card tight in my hand. I hurried to a lonely corner of the ship. I started reading it. My head reeled. Answer: as I hurried to a lonely corner of the ship, holding the card tight in my hand and started reading it, my head reeled. 16th. Join these sentences into a complex sentence. Here, he fell ill of some mysterious illness. It kept him in hospital for months. He bore it with the mute and uncomprehending patience of a dog. Answer: he bore with the mute and uncomprehending patience of a dog his mysterious illness that kept him in hospital for months. 17th. Sardar Patel was a strong man. He brought all the princely states into the Indian Union. He used the method of persuasion. Sometimes he used the method of coercion. Join into a single sentence. Answer: Sardar Patel was a strong man who brought all the princely states into the Indian Union using the method of persuasion and sometimes of coercion. 18th. It was late on Monday night. Some dacoits raided a goldsmith's shop in Calcutta. The dacoits had arms with them. They escaped with 80 grams of gold. Join the sentences into a single sentence. Answer: late on Monday night, some armed dacoits raided a goldsmith's shop in Calcutta and escaped with 800 grams of gold. Page number 439, 19th. It was midnight. The inmates of the house went to bed. A gang of robbers broke into the house. They decamped with the valuables. Join into a single sentence. Answer. After the inmates of the house had gone to bed, a gang of robbers broke into the house at midnight and decamped with the valuables. 20th. He built a house. It had many large doors. It had many large windows. It had wide verandas. It had a general air of coolness and comfort. Join into a single sentence. Answer. He built a house which had many large doors and windows, wide verandas, and a general air of coolness and comfort. 21st. I returned home from England after a decade. There were many at home. They could not recognize me. Join the single sentences. Answer. When I returned home from England after a decade, there were many at home who could not recognize me. 22nd. Hamlet remembered a story. The story was about a murderer. The murderer watched a drama showing a murder on the stage. He confessed his guilt. Join these sentences into a single sentence. Answer would be: Hamlet remembered the story of a murderer who watched a drama showing a murder on the stage and confessed his guilt. 23rd. Warren Hastings was sent to a village school. He was sent there as a child. He learnt his letters there. He sat on the same benches as the sons of the peasantry sat. He ultimately became the ruler of India. Combine these sentences into a single sentence. Answer. Warren Hastings, who ultimately became the ruler of India, was as a child sent to a village school where he learnt his letters sitting on the same benches as the sons of the peasantry sat. 24th. Join these sentences into a complex sentence. I walked with him to the seashore. The wind at that time was sighing mournfully around us. It seemed to sympathize with us in our sorrow. This sorrow was at his leaving us. Answer. As I walked with him to the seashore, the wind was sighing mournfully around us, seemingly sympathizing with us in our sorrow at his leaving us. 25th. There lived a hermit in this forest. It was 50 years ago. It might be 60 years ago. He could transmute copper into gold. He could transmute lead into gold. Turn this into complex sentence. Answer. 50 or 60 years ago, there lived in this forest a hermit who could transmute copper and lead into gold. 26. Army March had brought 24 delicious limes to class. She was going to treat her friends. This rumor circulated through her classmates. It did so during the next few minutes. The attention of her friends became quite overwhelming then. Join these sentences into a simple sentence. Answer. On circulation of the rumor during the next few minutes of the army march having brought 24 delicious limes to class to treat her friends, the attentions of her friends became quite overwhelming. Page number 440. 27th. Join these sentences into simple sentence. Death is not the end of life. It releases the soul of a dying person from the fetters of body worn out with old age or afflicted by various ailments. This is a common knowledge. In spite of this, the incident of death overwhelms us with grief. Answer. In spite of the common knowledge of death being not the end of life, but releasing the soul of a dying person from the fetters of body worn out with old age or afflicted by various ailments, the incident of death overwhelms us with grief. 28th. Join the sentences into a single sentence. She went to murder the king. He was sleeping peacefully. He strangely resembled her father. She could not murder the king. Answer. She went to murder the king, who was sleeping peacefully but could not do so as he strangely resembled her father. 29th. Join the sentences. I heard a loud noise. It was coming from the direction of the market. I at once rushed to the market. I wanted to know what had happened. Answer. Hearing a loud noise coming from the direction of the market, I at once rushed towards it to know what had happened. 30th. Join the sentences into a complex sentence. We decided to cover the journey in a car. The journey was from Calcutta to Malda. We hired a car. The car was brand new one. Answer. We hired a brand new car as we had decided to cover the journey from Calcutta to Malda in a car. 31st. Join into a single sentence. She rushed out of the house in time. She would have been crushed by the collapsing roof. The roof gave way very suddenly. It gave no warning of the impending crash. Answer. Had she not rushed out of the house in time, she would have been crushed by the collapsing roof, which gave way suddenly without giving any warning of the impending crash. 32. Join into a single sentence. The farmers saw the approach of a storm. The storm was violent. The farmers took shelter in a hut. Answer. Seeing the approach of a violent storm, the farmers took shelter in a hut. 33. Join into a single sentence. I saw a woman. She was about 30 years of age. She stood at the palace gate for hours. She did not speak. She did not move. Answer. I saw a woman about 30 years of age standing at the palace gate for hours without speaking or moving. 34. Join into a single sentence. It was early one morning. Mist was just rising above the tree tops. Two shikaris met on the approach of some high ground. The ground overlooked a wide depression. Answer. One early morning, while mist was just rising above the tree tops, two shikaris met on the approach to some high ground overlooking a wide depression. 35th. Join into a single sentence. The northern state of America had a contest with the southern. The contest lasted for 4 years. The northern states fought for freedom. The southern states fought for slavery. The southern state resisted for long. They were finally defeated. Answer. In the 4 years long contest between the northern states of America and the southern states, the northern states fighting for freedom and the southern ones for slavery, the latter were finally defeated after resisting for long. Page number 441. Exercise 87. Change as directed. First, into a complex sentence. I did not see him at school. He was ill. I went to his house for this reason. Second, into a simple sentence. The building was magnificent. It has been designed by a French architect. This was done in the 18th century. Third, into a simple sentence. The English nation honors the name of Wellington. He won the Battle of Waterloo. He won many other great battles in the service of his country. Fourth, into a simple sentence. I went to your house. It was on a Sunday last. The time was 9 in the morning. My object was to see your brother. He was lying ill with fever. Fifth, into a complex sentence. The weather was bad. It threatened to become worse and worse. We stayed at home. We did not desire to be drenched with rain. Our journey was not finished. Sixth, into a single sentence. I was prepared to pass the night on a tree. A Negro woman observed this. She told me to follow her. There was compassion in her look. Seventh, Seventh, into a single sentence. He lost his way. He requested me to direct him. I was new at the place. I could not help him. I asked a gentleman passing by for assistance. Eighth, I am young. You are old and experienced. I was afraid of your age and dignity. I kept silent before you. Ninth, into a simple sentence. I gave him many thanks. He had found my purse. He had returned it to me. He had not taken anything from it. 10th, into a complex sentence. The examination will commence next week. It will be held in the University Hall number. Other building is able to accommodate all the candidates. The number is several hundreds. Each require a desk to himself. 11th, into a complex sentence. He came here. It was raining. His son was ill. He came for the doctor. The doctor was expected here at the time. 12th, join a complex sentence. You had lost your elder brother. I heard the news from Satish. I met him yesterday. He was the main support of your family. I was very sorry. 13th, into a complex sentence. The sun was setting. I stood on the bank of the river. Satish was with me. He was my friend. I watched the fishes. They were playing in the water. I watched the gentle waves. The waves were dancing in the sunshine. 14th, into a complex sentence. I often saw big boats sailing down a river. It flowed past my native village. I was there at the time. The boats were big. They were laden with goods. 15th, into a complex sentence. Shri Ram Chandra Bose was a classmate of mine. We were then students of the Presidency College, Calcutta. This was some 40 years ago. He has now become famous. He has won fame as a great physicist. He has won fame as a great social reformer also. 16th, into a complex sentence. He refused to listen to my advice, so I left the place. This resulted in his losing his all. He had got this all from his father. 17th, into a compound sentence. I sent to you a boy. He may be poor, but he is honest. He is also intelligent. I can assure you to this. 18th, into a complex sentence. Many brilliant students have come out of this university. You are one of them. You are well connected. Still, it is not safe to entrust to you the charges of this firm. It is a big one. You have no practical experience of its business. 19th, into a complex sentence. I was in Germany. I was then struck by two things. These were the spirit of obedience and power of organization of the people there. With these they had made wonderful progress. They had been crushed only a few years back. Page number 442. 20th, into a simple sentence. He returned home. It was dusk at the time. He was tired and exhausted. He had been searching for the cow all day. She had been stolen. 21st, into a simple sentence. Guru Nanak went from one big city to another throughout almost the whole of India. He was accompanied by Mardana. He was the Guru's faithful disciple. Nanak preached his doctrine everywhere. He also made disciples at every place. 22nd. Join into a single sentence. The sun said, the king wandered long in search of a deer. He lost his way in the jungle. At last he came upon a hut. He belonged to a poor farmer. 23rd. Join into a single sentence. He heard the terrible news. It was about the death of his father. He immediately ran to the hospital. His father had been lying ill there. 26th. Nothing succeeds like success. Join into a single sentence. Nothing succeeds like success. Your friend knows it well. Failure is unknown to him. He is diligent and energetic. Would you like to emulate him? 27th. Join into a single sentence. Socrates was given a cup of hemlock. He continued to talk to his friends. They were standing around him. History says this. 26th. Join into a single sentence. You have fixed up the game for tomorrow. I cannot take part in it. I am ill. The doctor has advised me complete rest. 29th. Join into a single sentence. Some people will always go forward to help others. They will do so even at the risk of their lives. You may call them foolish. You may call them mad. They don't care. 30th. Join into a single sentence. You have succeeded very well. This was a news to us. It gave us much pleasure. 31st. Join into a single sentence. He set out for home. He did this in disguise. His object was to go to Germany. 32nd. Join into a single sentence. The tiger saw me aim my gun towards it. It then sprang it one side. In this way, it avoided the intended shot. Splitting up sentences. Article 570. Questions may also be asked to split up a long sentence into short, simple sentences. This is just the opposite of synthesis. Here are a few examples. First, everybody knows that the boy who came to me for help is a liar and a cheat. Answer: a boy came to me for help. He is a liar. He is a cheat. Everybody knows this. Second, Napoleon, the greatest of French soldier. Wellington, the greatest of English generals. The Nelson, the greatest of English admirals. All heroes of their respective countries were contemporaries. Answer: Napoleon was the greatest of French soldier. Wellington was the greatest of English generals. Nelson was the greatest of English admirals. They were heroes of their respective countries. They were contemporaries. Third, Bassanio told Antonio that he wished to repair his fortune by marrying a lady whom he dearly loved and whose father, who was lately dead, had left her sole heiress to a large estate. Answer: Bassanio wished to repair his fortune by marrying a lady. He loved her dearly. Her father was lately dead. He had left her heiress to a large estate. Bassanio said all this to Antonio. Page number 443. Fourth, a band of well-armed ruffians, some of whom were escaped convicts, entered the village at midnight and stole the cattle of the villagers who were asleep. Answer: a band of ruffians entered the village. This they did at midnight. They were well armed. Some of them were escaped convicts. They stole the cattle of the villagers. The villagers were asleep. Fifth, he was now full of gravity, and instead of answering in fun, he took the case seriously and gave an answer which in that particular case was perhaps the wisest that man had ever heard. Answer. He was now full of gravity, so he did not answer in fun. Instead, he took the case seriously. He gave an answer. Man had heard many an answer towards him, so they come quietly forward from here and there. Sometimes they break down the brushwood in their path. 7th. Mounted on a beautiful steed his father had given him, and accompanied by 5 men to act as his bodyguards, he set out for Agra to see the Taj Mahal there. Answer. He was mounted on a beautiful steed. His father had given it to him. 5 men accompanied him. They were to act as his bodyguards. He set out for Agra. He intended to see the Taj Mahal there. 8th. Everybody admired the man who passed all the university examinations as a private student while working as an humble railway pointsman at a lonely station. Answer. Everybody admires the man. He passed all the university examinations. This he did as a private student. He worked as an humble railway pointsman all this time. He worked at a lonely station. 9th. When Newton was 14 years old, his mother's second husband being now dead, she wished her son to leave school and assist her in managing the farm at Woolsthorpe. Answer. The second husband of Newton's mother was dead now. Newton was 14 years at the time. She wished her son to leave school. She had a farm at Woolsthorpe. She wished him to help her in managing it. 10th. I seemed to myself like a child, playing on the seashore and picking up here and there a curious shell or a pretty pebble, while the boundless ocean of truth lies undiscovered before me. Answer. A child often plays on the seashore. He picks up here and there a curious shell, or he picks up a pretty pebble. I seem to myself like such a child. The ocean of truth lies before me. It is boundless. It lies undiscovered. Page number 444. 11th. When Newton was 15 years old and had been hard at work more than 20 years studying the theory of life, 11th. When Newton was 50 years old and had been hard at work more than 20 years studying the theory of light, he one day went out of his chamber, leaving his little dog asleep before the fire. Answer. Newton was now 50 years old. He had been hard at work more than 20 years. He had been studying the theory of light. One day he went out of his chamber. He left his little dog before the fire. It was asleep. 12th. Little did his mother think when she beheld her newborn babe that he was destined to explain many matters which had been a mystery since the creation of the world. Answer. His mother saw her newborn babe. He was destined to explain many matters. These had been a mystery since the creation of the world. Little did she think that at the time. 13th. A right-minded man will have the courage to live honestly within his means, for he who incurs debts is in spirit as dishonest as the man who openly picks your pocket. Answer. A man may incur debts. Another man may openly pick your pocket. The former is dishonest in spirit like the latter. So, a right-minded man will live within his means. He will have the courage to do so. 14th. So hot is Egypt, and so little rain falls there that the valley would be a desert if the Nile did not overflow its banks every autumn in a mighty flood. Answer. The Nile overflows its bank in a mighty flood. It does this every autumn, but for this the valley of Egypt would be a desert. The country is very hot. Very little rain falls there.